Hello everyone, I want to welcome you to Kathy's Creole Kitchen. Today I'm going to be taking you on a culinary adventure. We are going to be making Natchitoches meat pies. This is famous to my hometown of Natchitoches, Louisiana. So we're going to start off with the ingredients. I have 2 pounds of organic grass-fed pasture-raised beef. I have a pound of ground pork. I have 1 whole bell pepper chopped, 1.5 stalks of celery chopped, and 1 large onion chopped. Of course, everyone knows this is the Holy Trinity for Louisiana cooking. I also have 2/3 cup of parsley and 2 tablespoons of minced garlic. Everything is chopped and minced. 1 teaspoon of cayenne pepper, 2 teaspoons of salt, and 1 teaspoon of black pepper. And I put gloves on because I'm going to mix all this together. So let's just do this right now. And what we're going to do is we're going to add half of the pepper right now, half of the salt, just pour it on in there, and half of the cayenne. And the reason we're only doing half is because we're going to want to brown the meat. But before I put it in the skillet to brown it, let me turn the skillet on and get it warmed up. Okay, got that on. We want to get it all mixed together because we want it to all the flavors to merge together. And this is just the first part. The making of the meat is the first part of the meat pies, because after we get the meat made and seasoned, we have to make the dough, the pie part. Because it's just like it looks like if you've ever seen fried apple pies, it looks like that, but it's stuffed with this delicious meat and the delicious seasonings that all go in it. So I think that's mixed up enough. Yeah, it looks like it's mixed up enough for me. I am going to take my gloves off. And by the way, I have 80-20 ground beef, because you want a little of the fat in there from the beef to make the food taste delicious. And also I'm going to put about a tablespoon of oil in the skillet, because you really don't want the meat to stick. Just put about maybe a tablespoon, 2 tablespoons, so that it doesn't stick to the pan. And I always use iron skillets because they just cook so well to me. It's very even cooking and everything. So we're going to get this in the pan. I don't think it's quite hot enough, but I want to get this in the pan and we're going to brown it. Once we get it browned, we're going to put the rest of the black pepper, salt, and cayenne pepper. And once it's completely browned, we're going to put all the vegetables in, except the garlic. We're going to put the bell pepper, the onion, the celery, and the parsley, and we're going to cook it for about 5 minutes. And after that, we're going to put in the 2 tablespoons of minced garlic and cook that in it for 3 minutes. So let's see how this is looking. Looking good. So I'm gonna put this in there and get this all browned up. And once I get it brown, like I say, I'm gonna add the rest of the salt, pepper, and cayenne pepper, and then we're going to add the vegetables. But I will come back to you before I add the vegetables. Okay, the meat seems to be nicely brown now. So we're going to get the rest of the black pepper. I'm just going to pour it all in there. The salt. Sprinkle it all in there. And the rest of the cayenne pepper. Put it all in there. We're going to stir it up in there. Make sure it's all mixed in. so. It's all mixed up in there. Looking lovely. Okay, now that we have the seasonings mixed up in there, we're going to put the vegetables, but we're only going to put the bell pepper, the onion, the celery, and the parsley. We're going to hold the garlic off for last. So we're going to put these in there. Dump them in. Can you hear it simmering? Sounding so good. Onion. Put that all in there. The celery. And the parsley. And we're going to cook this for about 5 minutes because we want to cook the vegetables down a bit. So we're going to mix it. Oh, you should smell it. I need smell-o-vision because it smells so delicious. All those wonderful, wonderful ingredients. So I'm going to time it, and I'll be right back with you after the 5 minutes. Okay, so the meat has been being cooked with the veggies, and now for 5 minutes, and now we're going to add the garlic, and we're only going to cook the garlic in the meat for 3 minutes because you don't want to overcook garlic. You don't want it to burn. So we're going to time this. Going to roll it around in there. And we're going to let that cook for 3 minutes. And you want to make sure you mix it all in really well. Because you want everything all merged together. So I'm going to let that cook for 3 minutes and then I'll get right back to you. Okay, it's been cooking for 3 minutes with the garlic in it. We're going to stir it up, just like so. I'm going to take it off the fire because it has to cool anyway so that you can see how it looks. Okay, I think I'm going to have a little help. Can't do it with one hand. All right, I'm going to put it here. I wish you could smell it because it smells divine. I'm all about how food smells. So take a look. This is how it looks with all the seasonings in it. And actually, we're gonna let it just cool down in the skillet. Right there, I'm gonna take a little taste just to see if it's seasoned enough. Because with this type of thing, it's according to your taste. So, it's really good. For me, it doesn't need anything else. If you like something a little more spicy, maybe you would want to put a little more spice in it. So we're gonna let that cool down. And the next step is to make the dough. And I just want to let everyone know, I know this is strange to see Crisco all vegetable shortening, but to make a really good pastry, you really need the shortening. So let me let this cool down and then I'll gather my ingredients for the dough and I'll show you how to make the dough. Okay, so now we're going to move on to the dough part of making these Natchitoches meat pies. What we're going to do, we need 3 cups of flour, 1½ teaspoons of baking powder, 1 egg, and we're gonna beat it up and we're gonna mix it with the milk. 1 cup of milk and 6 tablespoons of shortening. And I'm not gonna do this by hand because I'm not real good at it, but I have a dough hook on here on my KitchenAid mixer because I love KitchenAid appliances. They're amazing, and my KitchenAid mixer is like my best friend. So we're gonna mix the baking powder with the flour, and I'm just gonna grab a little whisk. I'm gonna grab a little whisk and I'm gonna whisk it all together just to get it all mixed in there. Now you can put salt in your pastry if you want, but I'm not really into salt. So now, let me scoot this over so you can see it a little better. I am going to put all of the flour and the baking powder in the mixture, in the mixing bowl, and I'm going to put in the shortening. This is 6 tablespoons of Crisco shortening. I know you probably haven't used it in a long time because everybody uses oil now, but shortening is the best thing to make pastry. So I'm gonna do the pastry. Now I'm going to turn it on, and I'm just gonna let it blend up on a very low speed to get it, to cut the shortening into the dough, to make a dough. So now we're going to get the egg. Gonna beat it up. You always want to beat up your egg because you don't want to cause it a mishap where you get too much of the egg in one part or something because it's not all blended well. So we're just going to do that. And we want to mix it with the milk. We're going to mix that all together like so. Let me speed this up now because it's a little more blended. And what you want your flour and your shortening mixture to look like is coarse crumbs. And it's looking like that now. So now I'm going to turn it down because it looks like coarse crumbs. Yep. I'm going to turn it down and I'm going to add some of the milk and egg mixture, but I'm going to do it a little at a time. So let's just put a little. I'll put about 2 ounces at a time. So we're going to mix all that up. Looking good. So we get that incorporated. Then we put 2 more ounces. You just want to get it just good enough so that you can roll it out. This is extra flour to roll out on the counter. We're going to, so there we go. It's looking good. 2 more ounces. It's working just fine. I have a little tart pan that I'm going to cut out my meat pie circles because this is as big as I want my meat pies. So I'm going to use this to cut out the dough. I'm going to push this forward and let that do its thing. And I'm going to add the rest of the milk, the last 2 ounces. Get all that in there. I'm going to dust my rolling pin with flour because you don't want the dough sticking to the flour. So, also, I'm going to spread some flour onto the counter. Oh, the dough is perfect now. It's popping up. Nice and coarse now. So we got this. Let's turn it off. Pick it up. See how it looks. See, that's the wonderful thing about a dough hook is that you don't have to do all that back-breaking work mixing it all together. So now I'm going to make it into a ball. Just like so. You don't want to overwork it because it'll make your make your dough kind of rough. So we got it in a nice little disc and ball. And now we're going to just roll it out. That's it. It's not real hard at all. So I'm just showing you the process of doing it. So I'm gonna roll it out and I'm gonna start cutting the circles out. So when I get it all rolled out and I'm ready to cut the circles out, I'll get right back to you. Okay, so I've got it rolled out. Now I'm going to put a little flour on the surface and get it on the edge of it, and then I'm just gonna cut it out. Cut out some little circles. And then when I get them all cut out, I'm gonna re-roll the dough again. Just keep using the dough until it's all gone, because you wanna get as much out of it as possible. And that's what I'm doing. So, and I have some of the meat right here to show you how to do this. Okay. But I know you're looking at this like this is a lot of work. It's really not. And it's just so delicious. I promise you, if you've never had them, you're gonna love them. And if you've had them, you're gonna love it even more. So actually, I'm going to take, these are kind of small meat pies because I like little bite size. So I'm going to fill them up best I can with about 2 tablespoons of meat. And then we're going to fold them over like so. And it's oozing all on the counter, so I'm gonna have to wipe that up. But you want it to be a little greasy. So you just pinch it together like that. And I'm gonna get a fork. And I'm gonna crimp the edges with the fork, like my grandmother showed me, because this joins the dough together, just like so. So let me get that. Oh, this one broke apart. My dough was too thin, and this will happen sometimes. So we'll set that one to the side and try a different one. And I'm actually going to wipe this little grease up, put a little more flour right here, and I'm gonna roll it out a little more because it's a little small, so let's just roll it out a little more, get a little bigger. Doesn't have to be perfect, but it's got to be big enough to get you some meat in there. So let's do this. A couple of tablespoons in there. This is like a fried apple pie, but it's a fried meat pie. It is so much better. All right, yeah, this one is good. So let's just crimp the edges again with the fork. Because you want them to lock down, so when you fry them, they won't come apart. So I do both sides because you want to merge it all together. And that's it. That's how you make the meat pie. So I'm going to get several of them made, and then I'll get back to you because we're going to fry them or cook them in the air fryer. It just depends on how you want to do it. So let me get some made and I'll get back with you. Alrighty, I finished making the meat pies, and this is how they look. They're just like a little turnover. But traditionally, these are fried in hot oil. I am trying to be a little more health conscious with it, so I'm gonna put it in the air fryer. And let's put it on 400 degrees, and I'm gonna try to cook it for maybe 8 minutes. 4 minutes on one side and then 4 minutes on the other side. So let's get it in here. Put it in there. All right. So I'm gonna let it cook, and when it's done, I'll get back to you. Okay, it's been in the air fryer for 8 minutes. I just took it out. I cut it in half to let you see. We have to let it cool a little bit, but I'm gonna show you while it's cooling, I'm gonna show you how I wrap them to freeze them because they can be frozen. So what I do is I cut some strips of parchment paper and I put the parchment paper around it, and I just put it in a Ziploc bag, a freezer Ziploc bag, just like so. Each one, so they don't stick together when you're trying to take them apart. And this way you can go in the bag and get them out as you cook them. If you want to cook one or you want to cook several, it works either way, however you want. But this is how you keep them from sticking together. You put each one in parchment paper and then put it in a Ziploc bag, and you can freeze it for up to 6 months. So let's take a little bite. It might be a little cool now, but they're generally really, really hot. Let's see. Delicious. I urge you to make this. I know it takes some time, but it's well worth the effort. Remember, this is an authentic Natchitoches meat pie from Natchitoches, Louisiana. My grandmother made them, my great-grandmother, everybody made them. So please join me next week for another episode of Kathy's Creole Kitchen. Thank you for joining me this week. Please make the recipes, leave me comments, let me know how it came out, let me know how your family likes it, and enjoy your weekend. Thank you so much for joining me, and come back and see me next week on Kathy's Creole Kitchen. Bye-bye.